Yo, what up? I go by MR.TC Saledawg, straight out of the city of Compton. As you know, Compton is my playground. I rep Compton, Dawg Civilian Entertainment, y'all. One of the up-and-coming artists out of Compton, as y'all like to call it, but Compton to me, y'all.
So how long have you been involved in the music industry?
Man, in the music industry, I'll say about 10 years. But rapping, I'll say about 15 to 16 years.
What initially got you into the whole music side of things?
Man, one day I bought a Walkman, right, at a yard sale. It's a crazy story. And it was tuned in to a radio station already. It must have been K-Day and shit. I turned it on and shit, put some batteries in it, and I heard some Ain't No Future in Your Front by fucking MC Breed, and it was over.
That was a turning point for you as far as music was concerned?
That was a trigger right there, bro. My mom and my dad is Mexican, my mom is Guatemalan, so I grew up listening to Los Tigres del Norte, Chalino Sanchez, Sonora Dinamita, salsa, merengue. I would listen to soul music because of my neighbors. I grew up in Compton. There was a lot of black neighbors and shit. You know, I grew up with black kids, brown kids, Samoan kids. Compton is very diverse. But that was my first time hearing some hip hop. And that shit turned me crazy after that, bro.
What were some of your early influences as far as your career is concerned?
Man, I'll say early influences a trip. People trip out when I tell them. My first influence was Mace, you know.
Mace.
People trip out, you know. But he just had a certain swagger and a demeanor to everything that he would do that it attracted me for some reason and shit. And I was just like, fuck. And that's where I really got to learn about Big. You know, Biggie, fucking Notorious B.I.G. That motherfucker was another one. Nas. I was more influenced on the East Coast before I turned into the West Coast king that I am now, you know. Mr. Compton, Mr. West Coast himself. But I was influenced by the East Coast, and I think that's where I got my hip-hop from.
Has it ever been difficult, you know, for you to adjust considering that you started off with East Coast influences? Was it difficult for you to transition over into the West Coast side of things?
It was a little bit because I was so used to listening to the East Coast beats and wanting to be more lyrical. And during that time, the West Coast was all gangbang shit. And I would see that day in, day in, you know, day in, day out. I would come out and I would see everybody gangbanging and shooting and writing on the walls and going in and out of jail. So that was my little escape from the neighborhood, I guess, listening to the East Coast shit. And I have family from New York out there in Brooklyn. Shout out to my people in Bushwick, what up? You know, I would look at pictures from them and I'd be like, damn, look at how my cousin dresses. That fool wears army pants. That's a fucking trip. He's wearing fucking construction boots with army pants. Like, why is he doing that? But it looks cool. I would have fucked with it too, you know? And it was a trip though, because it was hard transitioning from the East to the West. But I just adapted kind of, you know, the East Coast lyrical side to the West Coast funk, where I was able to use my rhythmic tones from the West Coast and use my lyrical skills from the East and combine them to make my own sound. As you could tell, I don't sound like anybody else on the radio. I don't sound like anybody else. I have a diverse sound, very unique. And you can tell by my music, you know.
What has been one of the hardest obstacles you've had to overcome, considering that you're taking from two different coasts at a time that perhaps is one of the biggest beefs in history, you know, East and West Coast, that you were in the prime of it?
Bro, I was so mad when Tupac dissed Biggie. I love Pac, bro. When I listen to Pac, look, I'm even getting goosebumps. When I listen to Pac makes me feel a different way. He would give me a different vibe. I would ride around town with sometimes things in my lap and shit because I'm listening to him, all eyes on me. You know, ride on your enemies, and you tripping. You like, man, I'm ready to shoot somebody. I'm gonna kill a motherfucker. And it was a trip, man. That's what the West Coast kind of did, you know? Fucking, it was crazy. It was crazy.
What do you think, you know, it's as cliche as it sounds, a lot of people say that music was what saved them. You know, and coming out of Compton, you know, somebody that grew up in a neighborhood close to Compton, you know, I can imagine that was probably your escape. You know what I mean?
It was, bro. You know, yeah, it was. That's the only thing that probably saved me. You know, I have a lot of family members that died, friends that died, family members who are in jail serving life, friends that are in jail serving life. So I'm thankful to God. You know, I'm in my 30s now and I'm still out here, you know.
What has been one of the hardest obstacles you've had to overcome, considering that you're taking from two different coasts at a time that perhaps one of the biggest beefs in history. You know, East and West Coast. That you were in the prime of it.
Bro, I was so mad when Tupac dissed Biggie. I love Pac, bro. When I listen to Pac, look, I'm even getting goosebumps. When I listen to Pac makes me feel a different way. He would give me a different vibe. I would ride around town with sometimes things in my lap and shit because I'm listening to him, all eyes on me, you know, ride on your enemies, and you tripping. You like, man, I'm ready to shoot somebody. I'm gonna kill a motherfucker. And it was a trip, man. That's what the West Coast kind of did, you know? Fucking, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Coming back to where you're at now, I was listening to to the CD that you handed to me. By the way, dope as hell.
Thank you.
I was listening to some of your older tracks. I've been following you for a while, just never really knew who you were. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't figure out how to spell your name. Like when I would look for, you know what I'm saying?
But it was C-E-L, actually S-A-L.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and my homie put me on, and you know I met up with you prior to this, and I listened to some of your music, man, and it's a lot of the shit that if you really grew up in LA, you can definitely relate to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no lies. There's only people from LA can understand what you're talking about in those songs.
Yeah.
And what do you use? Like, do you just go out and whatever you see is what your inspiration, or is just something that you live by on a personal?
Yeah, it's mostly personal experience that I rap about. I really don't try to rap about. There's my little trap songs and the little balling songs that, you know, you gotta make up the Lamborghini and the 6 mansions with the 3 maids and the pool and shit, which is cool for certain shit, but when you stay more real to yourself, everything changes, bro. So I think that's what kind of made me change. I started listening to my music and I started thinking, you know what, I need to talk about what I've been through instead of what I want people to listen to. So I just went through personal experience, you know.
Where you're at now as far as your projects are concerned, like?
Well, right now I'm working with a lot of different artists. I'm actually working with Kiki Smooth, the first Mexican rapper out of Compton. He's connecting me with Little Easy and Baby E. You know, Baby Easy E, that's E3. You know, DJ Yella, I think we're going to be dropping Yella 2. I'm going to be featured on that one. I actually just recorded a song 3 days ago with Kiki Smooth and Baby Easy E. I have my own album that I'm going to be dropping. It's called Monte Carlo Music. For all the homies in the hood that like to dip in their Monte Carlo and shit, you know, I'm going to throw some shit for y'all. That one's going to be about 15 tracks of nothing but pure heat, y'all.
What's the release date expected for that one?
The release date, I still don't have a release date because I have so many songs that just keep coming out the studio that it makes it hard to complete an album when you have about 40 tracks and you could only fit like 13 or 14 on there and shit for the people.
Right.
So, primeramente Dios, before the end of this year though. God willing, we drop it before the end of this year. Monte Carlo Music will be in your stereo bio.
Saledawg, thanks for blessing us with this interview, my boy. You know, we wish you the best of luck. And, you know, somebody that's been a fan, I can't put myself on I'm putting myself here on a professional perspective. You know what I mean? And I really dig your music. But like I said, I've been a fan since probably like 07. And just to see some of the stuff you did then to what you're doing now, like, props, my boy. You know, dale gas.
Appreciate it, bro.
Primeramente Dios, you keep doing what you're doing, canal, and, you know, just let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, well, you guys can find me on Instagram. It's MR.TC, MR.TC Saledawg. So it's MR.TC Saledawg. You can find me like that on Facebook, on SoundCloud, on SoundClick, on Snapchat. You can find me on the website, www.atgmusicgroup.com. I'm on YouTube, Thug Civilian Entertainment, THUGCIVILIANENT. And I appreciate everybody's support. My boy Freddie from Steelo Magazine, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate everything you do for the streets, for our people, and giving me this opportunity. Shout out to Urban Politics. Compton is my playground. Shout out to Compton, the whole city of Compton, Bompton, 2 C's, 1 C, B, whatever the fuck you repping, y'all. I love y'all. I'm putting it down for the city. Please support and support the West Coast music, y'all. Your neighborhood rap star, MR.TC, and I'm out.